When it's time for your child to go from primary school and take the big jump into secondary school, it can be a little daunting for both you and your child. So in this video, I'm going to share my top tips for how to get your child prepared for this next stage in their education. In this video, we are assuming that you already know which school your child is going to, but if you've not yet made a decision as to which school your child will be attending, it is even more important to go and visit the school. Most schools are really accommodating. If you just call the school office, you'll be able to find their number on their website and say that you are a parent of a child who is coming up, who's got a place, or a parent interested in their child attending the school. And most are really good at giving tours. Maybe they can point you in the direction of specific open evenings. But it's really important for you and your child to go and get a feel for this school where your child would be spending 5 or even 7, if they stay on for A-levels, years of their lives. I've got children who are neurodiverse and they do really, really well when they are prepared for things. I said something similar in my preparing for primary school video, but the same principle applies, perhaps even more so with secondary school. It's not just neurodivergent children, but actually all children are going to do a little bit better with the move up to a new school when they're familiar with the surroundings, they can picture it, especially when they've got that long 6-week summer holiday. If they've got somewhere they've been, somewhere they felt comfortable, somewhere they're excited, they're going to look forward to the experience all the more. My 11-year-old son will be attending secondary school starting in September. My eldest has already been through secondary school and has left, is now in university. So we have been through it. This is our second time. So he's been on an induction day. The school made it all very exciting for all of the children, but we also went for a private tour to just look around at our own pace, which was just so helpful. It gives you opportunity to ask questions and to really take your time a little bit more exploring the space so you're able to picture it. When you're visiting the school, ask if there is a map that they could print out for you or if you could download so that your child can have a little look and familiarise themselves before they go. I'm not suggesting that they're going to memorise the map or anything, but sometimes having something to look at can really help. Also, make sure you go through the school website just to familiarise yourself and just get your child excited for what's to come. It's really important to establish a routine when you are sending your children off to secondary school. They're not going to need quite as much sleep as when they were very little and starting school for the first time, but they are still going to need a fair amount of sleep. So agree in advance what time you'd like them to get up. Obviously, they're going to have a new morning routine with potentially buses or walking to a different school. And agree with them in advance what time will be a reasonable bedtime so that they can get enough sleep. It's better off having this conversation before school starts rather than muddling through and falling into bad habits that can potentially lead to conflict and arguments. When your child is getting ready to go to secondary school, it's time to start encouraging a little bit of independence. So this can be really nerve-wracking. Maybe your child's not used to really going places by themselves and suddenly they're having to get on a bus to a totally brand new place. So if you haven't already started, the school summer holidays before secondary school are a good time to start loosening the reins a little bit, as difficult as that can be for us as parents, letting them do a little bit more on their own, perhaps letting them go places by themselves that they wouldn't have been able to go before. And also establishing those ground rules. For example, if they are to go somewhere without you, they've always got to have their phone on or they've always got to have their GPS on so you can see where they are. Also, as they're going to be going more places by themselves, it's worth having a chat to them once again about dealing with strangers in real life and also the influx of social media that they'll likely be faced with as they join secondary school. Now's the time to be having chats about privacy online, making sure you don't share your details with people that you don't know, even if they claim to be from your school. There are likely to be resources on your school's website, either the current primary or the secondary school, to help you through these kind of issues. Next one is just a super practical one. It's label everything. Honestly, my eldest, I can't tell you how many times he lost a coat. So many coats that we went through. And luckily, because they were labelled, most of them showed up eventually. If you've been following me since forever, you will know that I really like the name labels that stick into the care labels of clothes. You don't have to bother sewing or ironing anything in. I've been using these for years and years and years, since long before I started blogging and vlogging. You can also stick the labels onto things like drinks bottles, lunch boxes, that kind of thing. And after 24 hours, they are dishwasher safe or machine washable in the case of the clothes. The company I've always bought them from is called My Name Tags, and I've always bought them, but I've actually been gifted some recently, which is fantastic. Thank you so very much. And they've given me a code to share with you, a discount code. So I shall put that information on screen. There's a QR code on screen if you are watching on a TV and you are wanting to scan that with your phone. Failing that, there's always a blog post to go with all my videos in the first pinned comment generally. I tend to put it up in the cards down in the description, that kind of thing, with links to everything I might be talking about, with products, videos, that kind of stuff, if you want to find the things that I'm chatting about in whichever video you're watching. Anyway, labelling is absolutely essential for anything you ever want to see again. So things like your children's coat, that's a big one. That's going to get left places. Jumpers, trousers, skirts, pencil cases, bags, anything, if they can put it down, they can lose it. And remember, they will be changing for gym kits. You've got to label all their gym kit. Also, their polo tops or shirts, whatever they're wearing, they're going to be changed in the changing rooms. If you ever want to see them again, or you want to make sure you're coming home with your own stuff, not someone else's, make sure they are labelled. Now, while the children are in primary school, I tend to put their name and last name and my telephone number. But now that William is going to secondary school, I have put his first name, last name and form on all of the labels. That way, when things end up back at the office, they'll know which form to direct the lost property back to. I also always tend to order generic Morgan family labels. Those have my phone number on them as well. And I put those on items that anyone of our family might pick up and take out of the house. Organise your child's uniform and plan ahead. Now, like I said in my primary school video, this principle is the same. If it's feasible, try and get 5 sets of uniform for anything that's going to need to be washed every day that's touching their skin, like tops. It's possible the outer layers, like jumpers, they won't need so many because they can get a couple of days out of them. Unlikely in primary school because they tend to soak themselves and cover themselves in dinner and all sorts. But in secondary school, it's possible some children will be able to wear a jumper a few days. If, however, you've got one of those children that likes to play football at lunch and they literally come home looking like they've bathed in mud and you're going to have a fresh set of clothes every day, you're going to be so grateful you invested in 5 sets. Lots of schools have pre-loved uniform sales. You might be able to get some locally on Facebook Marketplace if you've got to get the branded stuff. Some schools are less fussy, and if you can buy supermarket uniform, then it should be pretty affordable to get enough sets of clothes. But by organising it all on the weekend and then just slotting 5 slots, my children have these hanging dividers in their wardrobes, and in there they fold in everything for Monday, everything for Tuesday, everything for Wednesday. You get the picture, including pants, socks, jumpers, the lot. You can even go so far as putting hair accessories, things like that in if you've got little girls who like all the bits in their hairs. By organising it all on the weekend, a little bit more work on the weekend, but every school morning, you will be so grateful that past you did current you that favour and your children are not complaining that they cannot find the things they need for school. Going into the teen years, mornings can be a little bit of a challenge at the best of times, so the more we can be prepared, the better. And buy uniform early. By doing this, you're going to avoid queues in the school uniform shops, you're going to avoid shortages of sizes, and you're going to be more likely to be able to find bargains if you're looking for pre-loved or Facebook Marketplace uniform. And the next tip I would say was the absolute game changer for my eldest for staying organised and making sure that his homework was in on time, and that is the folder system. So for this, we have a plastic popper folder for each and every subject. Every folder is labelled with the subject name and your child's name. If you want to help them in addition, once they've got their timetable for the year, you can also add onto these folders their teacher's name, the times they've got their lessons, and the classroom where they have to go. And then what you do every day is, if you've got 5 lessons, 6 lessons, however many lessons that your child has during the day, in William's case it'll be 5 lessons, I will ask him to pack the 5 lessons he has for the next day plus the pastoral folder. So we'll have one folder that is just for homework diary and any important letters that get sent home from school. And the system goes like this. Every time they go to a lesson, say it's geography, even if they've got an empty folder because they haven't been given a geography book or any sheets, anything they're given during that lesson, books, sheets, whatever it may be, go into that geography folder. And that way, if they're given homework, it's there, it's all neat and tidy, and it's in the folder. I know when I was in school, I had so much missed homework from just having scrumpled bits of paper in the bottom of my bag that got lost, soggy, disgusting, forgotten. And it wasn't until I was sitting in the next lesson going, oh, I think we had homework to do, that I even realised anything had been forgotten. By doing this, you can see exactly what your child has got for each lesson, homework-wise, and you can help them stay on top of it. They're also not going to get in trouble for forgetting books and things because you know they've got a folder which contains all of the stuff they need for each lesson, plus their homework diary, if indeed your child has a homework diary. It's entirely possible that your child's school has moved totally over to an app. Schools use various apps to communicate with parents and children, and often all the homework is submitted through apps or online now. William's school, however, also has kept the homework diary system because some of the children really did prefer to write things down. So some of his homework will be viewed and submitted via the app, and some will be via the homework diary. Either way, if your child's school has an app, and whichever way they use it, chances are there will be an app for them to use now, be it a specific school one or something like a more generic Google app. Make sure that you've got all the login details saved safely. Don't just log into the app once, because if you ever update your phone, you get logged out, then you won't be able to log back in unless you've got those details saved somewhere safe. I'd suggest using a notes app on your phone to organise all of the information you need. You can save emails, screenshots, photos in there, and that way everything you need is there at the touch of a button whenever you need it for reference. Think about setting up a school bag station. Now, we've had one of these for my children, even though my little three are only in primary school and my eldest is off at university. We're going to keep this system for secondary school as well. It's been an absolute game changer for keeping the house tidy so there's not bags all over the floor and spilling out of cupboards, but B, being able to find things. The chances are they're going to need quite a lot of stuff for going to secondary school. There'll be PE kit, folders, all those kind of things. And that way anything left around the house you can put back in your child's box in the school bag station. That way you know it's there for them to grab on the way out to the house. I'm actually going to organise a Calyx box in William's room as well before September, where he can keep all of his folders, so that they're for him to pack his bag and do his homework. Next tip I would suggest is using a shared calendar with your child and anyone else that looks after your child, so you can log in things like after school activities, drop-offs, pickups, and where they need to be. You could use Google calendars or Apple calendars, which is what we use, and that way everyone can see who's supposed to be where and when. Going up to secondary school is going to be a big time of transition for your child, but also your relationship with them. So it's really important to encourage open communication. I've always said to my children, as long as you tell me the truth, I can help you with anything, and just whatever is going on, please talk to me. This doesn't work 100% of the time, but just letting your children know that as long as they come to you and they're honest with you, you can help them with absolutely anything, and you really will do your best to do that, and you will always be on their side, will hopefully give them the confidence to come to you if there's anything the matter. The other thing to do before secondary school is to encourage a little bit of self-advocacy in your children. This is something I've been doing for the children for quite some time, because I know that at the moment they're in a primary school where they're very nurtured, all the staff have known them for many years, and their needs can kind of be anticipated a little bit when staff know them that well. However, when you go to secondary school and you're having 5 or 6 teachers every single day, not every member of staff is going to know every child that well. So for quite a while now, I've been asking the children, even my youngest who's 6, that when they have got something that's the matter and they say this is broken or whatever it might be, I ask them, well, what do you need? What do you need from me to help you? How can I help you? And I encourage them to ask for what they need and not just tell me the problem. My hope is that then by the time they are all 11 going on 12 and going to secondary school, that if they have a problem and they are feeling like a small fish in a big pond, they've still got that confidence and those skills to be able to go to an adult member of staff and say, I need help with this, please. You're going to need to stay informed and logged in when your child is in secondary school. There's going to be quite a lot to keep up with. There's quite a lot to keep up with in primary school these days, but when your child's in secondary school, there is a lot more to keep on top of. I think the general consensus is children need you less as they get older, but actually it's not really the case. Their needs just change. In order to be able to support your child with being happy and being on top of things in school, so they're not getting in trouble because they're forgetting things, you need to make sure that you've got all the logins to all the apps, that the school have your telephone number and email, and you've added their email address to your safe list so you're not missing any communication from the school. You've got notifications from the school app turned on so that if there are any alerts, if your child needs to be picked up, or if there's something the matter, then you're notified straight away. And staying on top of this stuff can feel like a lot. So I like to, once a week on a Sunday, do a little bit of a reset and go through everything the week ahead, everything that's coming up, any trips, any money that needs to go in. And at least once a week then, I've done that little mini assessment to see what needs to be done. Staying on top of things for you as well as your child is really going to help with the overwhelm. Encourage your child to make a start on homework the night they get it, not the night before it is handed in. By doing this, if they start the homework and it's not going that well, they've got a little bit of time, a little bit of breathing space to attempt it again before leaving it to last minute. I was brought up as such a procrastinator and everything was so last minute, and it left me feeling quite agitated at times, I suppose, when I was under pressure. And ultimately, I did okay in school, but I could have done so much better if I'd taken a bit more time and adopted the method that I use now in my life, which is eat the frog, get the hard stuff done, and then chill out afterwards, which is just pretty much the opposite of what I did as a teenager. So at very least, check in with your child after school and see what has to be done homework-wise, because the level of homework is likely to increase significantly in the first year of secondary school compared to primary school. And even if they're not going to do it straight away, make a plan and even put it in the diary when you're going to fit in that homework before the due date. Take a deep breath. It might feel like there is a lot to do. Your child might feel anxious. You might feel anxious. And even if you're not feeling anxious about your child moving on to the next stage, then you may just feel a little bit emotional that your baby, let's face it, you still see them as your baby, is moving on to this next stage in their education, which may feel like a bit of an end of an era. I know that's how I feel. William's excited. I know he's totally ready for this next stage, and I'm sure he's going to absolutely love it. But obviously, as his mum, it's natural to worry and to feel that little, oh, he's grown up so fast. So if you want some more tips for back to school, click over here. There's a whole playlist of back to school, full stock takes and hauls and various tips and things from over the years. So I hope you'll enjoy those videos. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all those YouTubey things. I'll see you guys soon.